Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining the webinar today. The topic for today's session is Roadmap to a Resilient Future, Optimizing Cost and Increasing Agility with SAP S/4HANA and Microsoft Azure. During this webinar, our experts from YASH Technologies and Microsoft will cover how you can unlock the full potential of Intelligent Enterprise S/4HANA and Azure Cloud during every phase of the digital transformation journey. We will also provide a deeper understanding of the application landscape and how Microsoft Azure can meet all of your scalability, flexibility, and compliance needs on a platform which is even the largest SAP and SAP S/4HANA workloads can run. Our speakers for today's session are Nagesh Bezawada, SAP Practice Lead, APAC YASH Technologies; Denny Huang, Senior Technical Specialist, SAP on Azure, Microsoft. Before we get started, I would like to quickly take you through the housekeeping items. The session will be recorded and the link will be shared to all the attendees later this week. You will see a control panel on the right-hand side of your screen. The orange button on the top right side of your screen can be used to collapse and expand the control panel. Through the presentation, the staff will manage the Q&A functionality. If you have any questions for our speakers, please enter the same in the questions window on your control panel. Your queries will be answered at the end of the session. All attendee microphones will be muted to prevent any distractions. Your participation is important all through the session. I now request Nagesh to take it over.
Thank you, Aarti, and good afternoon and welcome everyone. I'll just get started. In the first part, we're going to talk about S/4HANA. What are the steps you can take and what is S/4HANA and why to move and when to move, and also about our package that we have. So I'll just skip this quickly. So why you have to move to S/4HANA? What is the compelling reason or what the product brings to you is what we're going to discuss now. So S/4HANA is the digital core or the latest version. I think by now most of you would be familiar with it. It's been about more than close to 5 years now since it's been first launched. So this is the foundation. It could be a first step to your digital journey. Either you're a customer who's looking for a new ERP, okay, and S/4HANA could that be your new ERP, or if you're already running an SAP ECC system, S4 could be the first step for you to your digital journey. And why? Because it has all the simplified processes. Your processes are simplified, in terms of intuitive apps that are there, which will guide you through your operations and decision-making process, rather than going through multitude of T code, transaction codes, and some reports and everything. You have insight-driven app-based access, and powered with more than 10,000 KPIs. More than 10,000 plus KPIs are there, like your days outstanding, day sales outstanding, or year overviews, or your inventory. So varying predefined KPIs are there, and it's also your platform for your innovation, because a lot of predictive analytics and RPA engines and conversational UI engines are built into the platform. You can leverage them as your second stage. First getting there to S/4HANA is all the more compelling. We're going to talk much further on why you should go now as well. And the best part is the faster time to value with some of the platforms like Azure. We're also going to talk about that, and with partners like us, we definitely, and the methodologies SAPs provide, you can definitely get there fairly quick, either converting your systems or even going afresh or implementing it newly, a new S/4HANA implementation. So like I was talking about, insight driven or intuitive apps, where it shows you some metrics and it takes you down all the way, drill down. Somebody either at a level of a CFO or further down at an accounts payable, or somebody managing the entire plant, or to the inventory, a manager, or down to the shop floor. Everybody has the apps tailored and show the metrics, and it has a good red, green, yellow kind of a notation, so that people can quickly take actions on those, and there are inbox kind of apps which draw your attention to approvals and everything. And there are a lot of analytics that you could perform. You're getting your volumes, analyzing your sales volumes, analyzing your margins, etc. So this is how new look SAP is going to be for you once you get to S/4HANA. Yeah, as I was talking about, rather than going to multitude of transactions and then seeing your own analysis and then going ahead and choosing and performing a transaction, imagine that everything is bundled into one screen for you, so that the insights are there, and the suggested decisions are also there. Whether you should, for example, whether you should approve the order, review the credit and approve the order, or reject the sales order, or whether you should go take it to the next step. So that kind of even decisions are actually thrown based on the situation that the data presents itself. So that's the kind of simplified decision, with the insights that you have with almost for all the LOBs, you have that kind of apps. So another important thing, say today you already have an ERP running, and if you're actually contemplating to invest a lot more into your analytics by having an OLAP, so instead of having an OLTP and an OLAP system, so and managing data transfer with that and having more of a strategic reporting, you with S/4HANA, it gives you that operational reporting, consistent operational reporting, because up to the nearest second you'll have everything. The metrics are updated, refreshed, and it's a live operational reporting, so as to say, and it's one simple landscape. So investment that you're going to make into building an analytics, actually you can invest in actually moving yourself from ECC to S/4HANA, or even going to implementing an ERP like S/4HANA. Okay. So now preparing the road for S/4HANA conversion initiative. Of course, while most of these are, almost all these are applicable for conversion, but if you're somebody who are looking for shopping the ERP, fresh ERP that you're looking for, so then maybe the best tools for you to evaluate is the Fiori Apps library. It's publicly available. You just type Fiori Apps library in Google, and you will be able to find out how about all the apps that are there, that are listed there, and you could actually see how the what are the insights it's going to provide, and how it is going to look, and what are the kind of people that are going to access that, or that are going to need it. So you have Fiori Apps library, which is a good tool for you if you're going ERP shopping. And yes, if you're already on an ECC environment and you're looking for S4, and maybe it could be in the next quarter, it could be in the next 6 months, or whenever you're looking. Because if you're preparing a road, if you're trying to do a business case, or you have S4 in the annual, even in the next 12 months, or even later, you can definitely do a lot more things now, even to understand how your road is going to be, how you can prepare for this initiative. Yeah. And these are some of the things, like maintenance planner and PAM are publicly available for you. And maintenance planner tells you about your add-on impact, how your add-ons, what add-ons you have, are they compatible for your S4 journey, or is it a red stop for you? You cannot go to S4 unless you get this sorted, or SAP provides you something. So associated notes also the planner gives you, and PAM tells you based on your current environment that you have, hardware that you have, what is it that you need to invest in to go forward, whether you need to do an OS upgrade, or you need a DB upgrade, etc. And BSR is a business scenario recommendation. It uses your trace data that you currently have, your ST03 and trace data within your SAP system, and then you can feed it into a link. There is a link provided by SAP, and we can also help you as a right partner. We can help you generate your BSR report if you get in touch with us, and that gives you a complete insight into where and how, what are the areas, be it in terms of performance, or be it in terms of process improvements, or what are the simplifications you could leverage, and what are the apps that would be applicable for you, or more apt for you. So it's tailor made for you, the business scenario recommendation tailor made for your particular instance you can generate. Readiness check is another thing, where you can perform. It is more like in-depth, or an MRI scan kind of a thing of your entire system. Yeah. So wherein it will provide you information on what should be your hardware sizing given your current database size and everything. What should be your instance sizing? Maybe if you're approaching Azure, as a cloud partner. So the sizing you can actually share with the Microsoft team, or with YASH, with YASH, and we can definitely get you the approximate pricing for you and also give you a budget. So the sizing details are provided in terms of what kind of instance you need for a HANA. And then it also talks about the impacted processes and what are those other processes that you could leverage on based on your system, and what is the data that is fairly old and what you could consider for an archiving, because if you are having a huge set of data today already, so instead of before going to S4, maybe it's recommended for you to do an archiving. Then it lists out what are those objects that you can aim for archiving. Then it also gives you a custom code analysis. It does a lot on about your custom code analysis. Your whatever investments that you have done on your adapt customizations and everything. So where do you start? Is it what is the percentage it is impacted, and what are the areas that you need to look at? So, and also what are the theory apps applicable at a far more detail. So readiness check gives you that full thing. It is a matter of, you can even reach out to us to help you in getting it done. You can do yourself if you have some basis staff within your organization, or you can reach out to us. It's fairly simple process. You have to apply 2 nodes and generate, run 2 programs and generate an output and upload the output in the site that is listed. So likewise, there are multitude of tools. I think even SAP is adding Innovation Launchpad. Also, there's one more tool. So there are multiple of tools. A right partner like us can help you in your S4 journey and also your cloud journey. And so yes, this is what I was talking about. So S4HANA is definitely there as a proven product, and then you need a perfect platform to get the right throughput. The technology that is there, it runs very well on a right kind of an environment, and Azure is that environment that's going to provide. And SAP on Azure is a widely talked about thing. Even SAP is pushing it. And YASH as a partner is bestowed with best of both worlds. We have the expertise on the infrastructure side in helping you push your workloads to Azure, be it your non-SAP workloads, Windows workloads, and even SAP workloads. So even if you're today, maybe S4 could be a bit of away in your roadmap, but even if you're having your current hardware refresh, if you're contemplating a hardware refresh or a cloud move, we can definitely help you. And Azure has a very beautiful uh, kind of packages available for you, and Denny is going to talk more about it. But they provide all kinds of assistance in terms of helping both the partner and the customer to make the move to Azure. And yes, S4HANA definitely is the first step for you on Azure. But beyond that, if you need to explore Azure itself as for a complete digital journey, Azure can be that platform that can offer you more, trials. If you would like to try out something on a big data, so Azure has that. Or if you would like to try something on IoT, Azure has the platform for it. And they encourage customers to try out by way of their POC, proof of concept kind of, benefits or packages that they have. And then he's going to talk. So to sum up this slide, you are in a safe hands. You are on a right environment, you are on the right product, and you're on the right partner, and who can do both for you, both your cloud lift and shift, and also help you do your conversion to S4. So now we talked a lot about the S4 HANA, why you should move and all that, what's compelling, and why now. Definitely, you should try and leverage the value at the earliest, because your businesses are running today, especially with COVID. Yeah, earlier you had a deal that by 2024-25 SAP is going to stop support and all that, but now SAP has increased the time to by 2 years. But the catch is there that only your core ECC product will be supported. If you have any compatible solutions or compatible add-ons that you have, those will not be supported beyond 2025. That's a separate thing. But in this COVID world, we all have been challenged by lack of opportunities. Slowly, the opportunities are coming their way, albeit they are very minimal. So things are a bit desperate still, and everyone is trying to vie to gain that opportunity. In these times, you need an intelligent system. Okay, a very very intelligent system for your enterprise to make yourself an intelligent, because the right kind of insights, if there is an opportunity, you would like to make sure that you fulfill that opportunity, and the right kind of insights and the right kind of decision making ability as S/4HANA brings forth is important for you, because you need to make your decisions on time, and maybe in real time you'll have to make a lot of decisions. Okay, So whether a sale has to be done and where I have to buy it in order to make my sale profitable, or whether I can fulfill. So all these kinds of, like we spoke about, the insights will give you. This is a tool that you need for you to become resilient again, rise up again and bring forth your business. So you're running on ECC today. There are still a lot of things that you need, to the ability to see your supply chain, or the ability to see your finances, your cash flows, you see your year overdue, whom to pursue to get your money, or where is the best sourcing that I can do. So all these you'll only get, it's all the more needed now for you to make that little investment towards your move to S4 HANA. Okay, and make sure you maximize your benefits, and make sure you maximize your opportunity conversion. Yeah. So you have some proof of concept tools, like even Yash has some proof of concept offerings to help you. Is SAP really going to do it for me? So those kind of things we can definitely help you. Okay, so even Microsoft offers POC, encourages POCs, so we can do that, and we can also help you get there quickly. If you once you've thought to go there, we have the right kind of packages to help you get there quickly. So if you're a new customer, if you're a customer new to SAP and you're looking for your business, to get started, if you're in any of these domains, we have the packages for you. These are based on SAP best practices coupled with some of our solutions, so we can get you there fairly quickly. So you can reach out to us to understand these industry solutions if you're in any of these industries, and we have these clientele where we have served with these rapid deployment solutions. We have a base package and exhaust and an extended packages for these. And the most important one is the conversion package. We call it YASH for HANA. So if it is S4 HANA, it definitely has to be YASH for HANA. So we have these packages wherein it's fixed for a particular landscape. If you have one landscape, and definitely there is a baseline package which you want to talk about in the subsequent slide. And then if you have add-on options that you need, either you need an OS upgrade, or if you have an additional system like a BW, or you would need a new GL conversion, or you need a SD revenue recognition to an RAR conversion kind of things. So you have all of that, but this package gives you a clear view into what's the scope, what's the timeline, and what's your cost going to be like. Okay, so this is the scope that we have, up to 1,000 objects and 10 company codes, and you should have a 3-system landscape plus a sandbox, and up to 60 theory apps we are going to give you, like transactional analytical apps. And we also do a readiness check report and analysis, and these, for our early bird customers, we can do complimentary. We can generate a readiness check for you on a complimentary basis. Yeah. So, and yes, of course, if your system is currently on classic GL, okay, the system will convert to new GL, but you will not get the document split and segmental reporting and all that. Those have to be treated as a subsequent project. You can still do it. So these are all the things that we do as part of the scope. Okay, and these are some of the assumptions. Like we said, is your deferred revenue is not in use. In case it is in use, you have IR migration. You are expected to be on Unicode. If not, you have a non-Unicode. So the baseline packages has all these offerings. Okay, so I mean all these assumptions. Okay, and anything that is not met, then I think we need to go to the add-on options. And just for full system conversion, of course, the price is not mentioned here. We're going to, even interested and you reach out, it's a package price. Pretty soon we're going to get it qualified by SAP also. Then you'll have a price available on the internet also. So it's for 4 systems totally. We also help you do a new setup and EWS setup, and this entire thing is expected to be completed in about 4 months. Okay. So I'm going to take quickly another 2 minutes, and of course you should provision the required licenses and also the sandbox server initially. Okay. And then yes, if you're contemplating to go to S4, these are all the things that you need to see, a license cost that you need to pay to SAP. Then you have an OPEX, that you need to definitely do it for your workloads to Azure, and then your services cost to SAP, to us, to YASH as well. And internally, even if you're looking to upgrade your network and your systems, you have Windows desktop, virtual desktops that you have with you. So coming quickly to the success stories, we have a value realization for some of our S4 HANA customers. So these are some of the things, benefits like reduction financials for the month-end closing, or AR outstanding they're able to pursue with their customers, right? And a significant in IT systems management by moving to on Azure. I think even Denny is going to talk definitely more on that. And these are some of our S4HANA clientele where we've done implementations and also lift and shift to Azure. So like Dormakaba is a very big customer. A lot of workloads move to Azure. Yeah. And then this is one S4HANA conversion which was done within flat of 13 weeks, and it was done completely remotely from the respective houses of the people, because this was started and then COVID struck and we were able to do it fully. Okay, and without on time, on budget, without any issues. So this is something you can definitely look at even in these times. So YASH, we are a 25-year-old company, and we have been there with good partnerships and alliances with Azure as well as SAP. Globally spread, we can serve you anywhere, no matter where you are. The detail, but we are about 18th or 19th largest in terms of the sheer SAP consulting strength that we bring in. And we have a center of excellence to help you not only with S4HANA, but all the other associated things, like if you're doing a theory transformation or a central finance or revenue recognition projects, or we can do more educative session for you or do proof of concepts for you. So this is where I would like to stop, and then thank you everyone, and I would hand it over to Denny. So over to you, Denny, and kindly make Denny as the presenter.
Thank you very much. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Denny Huang. I am SAP on Azure Technical Specialist from Microsoft Global Black Belt team. Prior to joining Microsoft around 3 years ago, I was working as SAP Technology or Basis Consultant for more than 17 years, involved in various projects from greenfield implementations, OSDB migrations, upgrades, operations support, and so on. So when we ask our customers why they are migrating to the cloud, the answers generally fall into these 4 buckets. First is about better operation. I would put security, cost, and analytics in this bucket. Second is S4HANA roadmap. Many customers are starting to think about the S4HANA migration and so looking at the cloud. The third one is about digital transformation. We also see many customers starting with innovation projects around SAP, such as building customer websites or integrating it with IoT. And last but not least, many customers take advantage of infrastructure events, such as hardware end of life or software end of support. A lot of SAP customers are at the start of their S4 journey. Some customers might think of doing a simple lift and shift to the cloud. Some will consider lift and migrate first, where they will probably change the underlying legacy OS and DB, such as moving from AIX DB2 or Solaris Oracle to Windows SQL Server or Linux Oracle or Linux DB2. Some customers would like to familiarize themselves with the new SAP HANA in-memory database, so they may decide to move to Suite on HANA. Some may consider direct greenfield or brownfield migration to S4HANA. But the end goal is the same for all these SAP customers, which is to move to S4HANA by 2027. Microsoft Azure supports all of these scenarios, be it any DB, Suite on HANA, or S4HANA. In terms of regions, today, Azure available in 58 regions worldwide, out of the total of 63 regions which we have already announced so far. The latest 3 regions being in Poland, New Zealand, as well as Taiwan. The chance is that you will be able to find an Azure region close to your businesses or make use of Azure well-connected network for global deployment. What is unique about our global network is that we manage and operate all these fiber optics, we call it dark fiber, ourselves. We are in the top 3 of the fiber optic operators in the world, but we do not resell this capacity to any third-party providers. We use this solely for our Microsoft customers, be it servicing Office 365, Xbox gaming, LinkedIn traffic, as well as Azure. At the very heart of our success so far is trust. We need to be a trusted partner for our customers. Therefore, we built these 90+ compliance to standards for our data centers, and the number is still growing. When I first joined Microsoft less than 3 years ago, I don't know why the screen changed by itself, the number stood at 54 certifications. What it means for you customers is that you can be assured that your data center in Azure Cloud is managed and operated according to these standards. In fact, we sometimes need to delay announcing new Azure region because we are still waiting for the completion of local law, which protects our customers' data. Those data belongs to our customers. So it is not funny if one day we end up having to hand over our customers' data due to some legal requirements from the local law enforcement. These certifications also mean that you can just download the audit reports from Azure website and pass it over to your auditors when they come to audit your data center operations when you put your data center in Azure. This year, Microsoft won the SAP Pinnacle Award for the Public and Private Cloud Provider Partner of the Year category. It is the highest testament of our commitment and creativity in delivering qualities and results for our customers. Microsoft runs SAP, and we run it on Azure. SAP also runs their internal S4 systems on Azure. We signed Embrace Initiative with SAP, where SAP named Microsoft Azure as their preferred cloud partner, and will jointly craft market-approved journeys and best practices for customers in vertical industry, such as retail, manufacturing, telcos, etc., together with our implementation partners. Next, we will look at Azure VM availability, or SLA. On the leftmost of the screen, we present the only cloud provider who commit to 99.9% availability on a single VM. The only condition is that the VM must use premium disk or premium SSD. It can be a cost-conscious option for customers who do not use SAP in a highly critical or as a customer-facing system. For such highly critical systems, we provide higher SLAs of 99.95% in the case of availability sets deployment and 99.99% SLA in the case of availability zones deployment. Apart from those standard SLAs, we also provide disaster recovery to another region, which is basically hundreds of kilometers apart from the primary region. And every Azure region always has another region as its paired DR region. What everyone needs to understand is that running SAP on Azure is basically following infrastructure as a service model, where Microsoft takes care of the underlying servers or compute, storage, and networking up to the hypervisor or virtualization layer, while customers are responsible to managing the OS, database, and application layers. Often, our customers may choose to outsource all of these tasks to a managed service partner, such as YASH Technologies. In this model, YASH Technologies will be responsible in managing and operating your SAP environment. With Azure, you have options, no matter how big or small your SAP workload is, and whether you are running SAP on SQL Server, Oracle Database, DB2, or HANA. When it comes to HANA database, our engineering team have been constantly collaborating with SAP engineering team to come up with new innovations in line with SAP roadmap. We were the first cloud to introduce bare metal solutions with our SAP HANA large instances in 2016. And we announced offering up to 24 terabyte today on this HANA large instance. Over the last 3 years, we also have worked to make HANA certified virtual machines with M series up to 4 terabyte. And now with our new M series version 2 or MV2, it goes up to 12 terabyte, all certified and available to our customers. Recently, we also certified our E-Series VM as well for SAP HANA. And of course, if you are running SAP on SQL Server or Oracle or DB2, you can use our D-Series VMs as well. What is unique to Azure is that you can scale up and down across these VM types, from as little as 2 virtual CPU to as many as 416 virtual CPU seamlessly. In the interest of time, I think I will not speak a lot about this particular slide. It's basically various types of storage that is available to run SAP workloads in Azure. But probably I will talk a little bit about Azure NetApp Files. So Azure NetApp Files is a storage as a service offering built together by Microsoft and NetApp, offered as a first-party Azure service, and is now certified for SAP HANA VM scale out with standby node. Azure is the only public cloud that can offer this for an M+N HANA scale out with standby nodes. You are now looking at a full-blown Azure reference architecture where you implement high availability cluster across Azure availability zones in the primary region and DR in another region. The highly available cluster across availability zones can be implemented easily in Azure with the help of Azure Load Balancer, which is a native load balancer as a service, zone aware, and has a probing capability to determine the active ASCS or database node. For the disaster recovery, we recommend implementing database native replication for the database servers and Azure Site Recovery for non-database, such as application servers. So ASR is basically a DR as a service in Azure, software-defined storage replication across regions where you do not need to spin up a VM in the DR site, thereby making it a very cost-effective DR solution. You only pay for the service, storage, and the egress or bandwidth between the two regions. Azure has a full set of services to meet all of your security needs as well as management needs. So in the interest of time, again, I will probably only talk a little bit about Azure Backup for SAP HANA, right? This is a fully certified SAP HANA backup solution from Microsoft, a full SAP HANA backup as a service solution, where again, you do not have to worry about setting up the backup infrastructure. It is enterprise grade and share the same management interface, user interface, as well as policy engine with the standard Azure backup. You can perform backup or restore operations on your HANA database with a single click from within Azure Backup UI. Of course, we also support third-party backup software as well, such as Commvault, NetBackup, and so on. But for customers who have not invested heavily on those backup software, I would strongly suggest to look into this Azure Backup for HANA offering. In terms of integration with Azure, you have a myriad of Azure services integrated with your SAP system, from a simple SSO integration through Azure Active Directory, integration and single sign-on to Office 365 and Power Apps, Logic Apps integration for business application, analysis services through Databricks, Power BI, data extraction through Azure Data Factory, storing data to Azure Data Lake, analysis service, through the newly announced Synapse, which is, by the way, a fantastic high-performance analytical service, to integration with Azure IoT Hub. So what are the real benefits of running your SAP system on Azure? First of all, you can provision system in minutes instead of weeks or months. It means time savings, which can really translate into dollar. Second is about scalability. You can scale up and down as needed, both horizontally and vertically. Gone are the days of 3-year or 5-year capacity planning. I have few real-world customers who undersized or oversized their SAP systems, and I'll be happy to share some of the stories if I have time. You also get higher availability. With single VM SLA that I mentioned earlier, you pay for 1 VM, but we back you up with hundreds of thousands of physical hosts. And on top of that, you have 99.9% SLA. Of course, you can have up to 99.99 SLA as well as DR as a service. And then you can also take the data and process it further for advanced analytics and other kinds of innovations. Above all, in CIO or CFO's minds, of course, it needs to give them better TCO and cost savings. So talking about cost savings, we have many offerings to our customers to help them achieve lower TCO. First is called Azure Hybrid Benefit or AHB, where you can bring your Windows Server's license from on-premise to Azure. As the name implies, Windows Server mobility is only available through AHB in Azure. Second is through Reserve Instance. Reserve Instance in Azure comes with monthly payment without additional charges, so you can have a true OpEx model for your infrastructure. Apart from that, we also have RI sharing, where you can use the Reserve Instance across multiple subscriptions. And also instance size flexibility, where you can use Reserve Instance in a flexible manner within one VM family. You also have the flexibility to do RI exchange as well as cancellations. All of these functions are available and accessible in Azure Portal. I've mentioned earlier about right sizing, where you do not need to estimate the next 3 to 5 year projection of required capacity of your HANA system. Now I'd like to introduce you to another terminology, which is tight sizing. Tight sizing works by adjusting capacity based on the processing demands. So for example, during month end, quarter end, or year end processing, you can simply scale up, be it horizontally or vertically, to meet the required capacity. It works in conjunction with instance size flexibility that I mentioned earlier. Take, for example, you have one E16S V3 reservation, but you need to scale that up to E20S V3 during month-end processing. In this case, the first 16 vCPU will have been covered by the reserve instance. So you only need to pay for the additional 4 virtual CPU on demand as long as you are running it as E20S V3. Once the month-end processing finished and you resize it back to E16S V3, you will be fully covered by the reserve instance. Another thing is snoozing, where we recently released SAP Snooze in GitHub, which is a Power Apps designed to easily start or stop SAP system on Azure. So rather than having to have a predefined time to stop your non-production system, you can now empower key developers or team members to do that themselves on demand. Like in Microsoft, we have a bunch of non-production SAP systems where most of them are actually idle and untouched for many days or months or weeks. So snoozing is really powerful way to reduce costs in the cloud, which you cannot have it on-premise. Here are some of Azure customers who have experienced massive TCO benefit by moving their data center to Azure. Malaysia Airlines estimates that it has reduced its total annual costs, including maintenance and depreciations, by about 45% by migrating it to Azure. In another milestone project, Daimler replaced its company-wide procurement system used to manage 400,000 global suppliers with a software as a service system running in Microsoft Azure. The new system involves the SAP S/4HANA, SAP Supplier Relationship Management or SRM on HANA, and the iCertis contract management platform. It all goes operational in just 3 months, and it costs 50% less than the previous system. I would suggest you to access and download this white paper released by Forrester, which researched the total economic impact of migrating SAP landscape to Azure. There can be questions about performance of running SAP on Azure. If it is cheap, performance will definitely be impacted, right? Well, no. Some customers actually claim that they have better performance in Azure compared to running it on-premise. How is that possible? Among others, Azure gives customers consistent and predictable performance based on enterprise-class components and standards across our data centers. Coupled with optimization and best practices, this allows customers to enjoy good performance when running their SAP systems on Azure. We have many enterprise customers running the SAP system in Azure, and most of these customers are running their production workloads, not only non-production. Two of the biggest customers who run SAP on Azure, of course, are Microsoft, ourselves, and SAP. Microsoft is the 6th or the 7th largest SAP customers in the world, by the way. Another one is Coca-Cola. So Coca-Cola is currently running 8+2 HANA Scale Up using Azure VM and ANF, the Azure NetApp files. That is 1 master node, 7 worker nodes, and 2 standby nodes. Zulik Pharma, Zulik Pharma is running a total of 12 terabyte of HANA for their production workloads. Their biggest HANA production database is running in M416S, which is a VM with 416 virtual CPU and 6 terabyte of memory. Dinata is currently embarking on their S4 journey with YASH Technologies. With regards to optimization and best practices I mentioned earlier, what are the available resources within Microsoft who can help partners and customers with their SAP deployment on Azure? Among other things, we will work with customers and partners to help them build the Cloud Center of Excellence, or CCOE. You can also get SAP on Azure Global Black Belt, such as myself, to help you in the area of subject matter expert. We have Fast Track Engineer, who can help with the design review as well as the first few deployments of SAP on Azure. Azure Customer Advisory Team is available to help in the most strategic deployments. These are normally large-scale deployments involving very large system or cutting-edge technologies such as HANA Scale-Out using ANF. We also have Cloud Solution Architect and Partner Technology Specialist who constantly support our partners in deployment. In terms of investment funds, we do have various end customer investment fund scheme through our partners, which can be used to accelerate deployment into cloud or for POC funding. We can also offer Azure credit for such POC or for the actual deployment as well. Just a little bit about Windows Virtual Desktop. For customers who already have M365 licenses or Windows 10 licenses, you can again bring those licenses to Windows Virtual Desktop or WVD and Azure so that you only need to pay for the compute resources. It can be deployed easily, and for some customers, it helps them to, for example, manage and simplify their SAP GUI deployment, among other things. As a summary, we have deep partnership with SAP, dated back more than 25 years, and unique offering such as SAP Cloud Platform on Azure. We have the most powerful and scalable cloud for SAP HANA from as little as 160 gigabyte all the way to 24 terabyte of RAM and counting. And Microsoft is running on trust. We have many enterprise-grade customers running SAP production workloads in Azure, relying on our platform's security as well as reliability to ensure their smooth operations and in their digital transformation journey. Thank you very much. I'll return it back to RT.
Thank you so much, Denny. So attendees, before we move on to the Q&A session, here are some quick poll questions that you will see on your screen. I request everybody to kindly participate into this. Meanwhile, you can also write your questions in the questions window on your control panel. So the first question is, at what phase are you in your migration journey? That is SAP ECC 6.0 to SAP S4 HANA on Azure. The second question is, how useful is the information presented in the webinar today? And the last question before we move on to the Q&A. As a next step, would you like to know more about our SAP S4 HANA solution and capabilities? Thank you so much for everyone participating in the poll questions. I move on to the Q&A session now, speakers. There are some questions that we have. Meanwhile, others who want to ask questions, please feel free to mention them in the question section. So Nagesh, I believe the first question you will be able to take it up. The question is, what kind of tools do you have to migrate from ECC on-prem to SAP S/4HANA on cloud for data conversion?
So what kind of tools do you have to migrate, or what kind of tools you have to use?
I'll read out the question once again.
Yeah.
What kind of tools do you have to migrate ECC on-prem to S/4HANA on cloud for data conversion?
Okay. See, when we talk about S4, there are even SAP and Azure together have the right kind of framework for it. See, one way is that we actually first do a lift and shift to cloud. That is basically if it's to the same like environment, we actually do a backup and restore onto the cloud environment. That's one way we can actually move the S4 and build the instances there and do a backup and restore. And then the other way is definitely is that you can build a target environment in Azure. It could be on a different database, and it could be on a different OS, whatever. Then we have an import export feature. So we do the import on the on-prem, and we do an export. We do an export on the on-prem, and then we do an import in the cloud. Okay, that way, yes, there is the things that you need to look at is how do we pump the data that is there. Maybe it could be an express route or site-to-site VPN. There are depending on the data size that we have to use, and it also has a consideration towards the downtime. Yes, it's technically possible that you do all your pre-migration activities of ECC on your on-prem system, and then you actually can migrate. If you have a proper express route or with a nice pipe, you can even do your conversion on your target system directly. So there are few other tools. Maybe reach out to us, and we can get both our IMS team and SAP experts onto a call with you to help you understand that in detail.
Okay. So the next question is, what is BSR?
Okay, I'll take that. See, BSR is the business scenario recommendation report. It is a service offered by SAP. Okay, what SAP does is that, okay, that report gives you the complete check of your system. It's based on your trace data, usage data from your production. It is recommended to generate it from your production. Okay, how you do is that you have something called a trace of your usage, what transaction codes or what features your users have been using. So that's something called ST03 and trace, which can be generated out of the system. So it comes out as a file. That file you have to upload in a particular URL. SAP gives you that URL. You upload there using your customer ID and your S user ID that you have. So because you have a customer code with SAP, right? So use that and you upload it. And SAP takes 5 business days to publish the report back to you. So that report contains the information, like I mentioned, in each of your LOB areas, like your finance, accounts payable, in your finance, AR, and your costing. So each of these areas, it gives you an in-depth analysis. It's a very comprehensive report, which tells you that, okay, what are the transactions or performance that is improved, in which areas that is improved. One is in terms of a sheer performance improvement. What are the key codes that are getting improved, or and what are the areas where you're able to take a benefit? Maybe if it's a closure, month-end closure, what are the areas that are impacted, and how much your month-end closure is going to improve upon. Okay, and what are those areas where your workload is reduced in terms of say your controlling reconciliations that you do. So it will give you that kind of analysis, and it also is easy to navigate within the report. You can skip your LOBs, or if you can go back and forth with it's a completely interactive report that you have, and it also gives you the kind of query apps that you need to use. So in short, it is a business case for you. If you're in IT, a BSR is something as a business case. As a first level, you can present it to your business and your management to say, okay, by going to S4, these are the straight away, these are the benefits that we're going to get. So while there is generic literature available everywhere, go to S4 and all that, but specific to your instance, if you need that pointers, the BSR is the report that you need to look for. Done, Aarti.
Okay. So the next question is, what is the benefit of implementing Azure backup for S4 HANA? And how is it different from running a third-party backup software in Azure?
Sure, I'll take up that question. So I mentioned earlier that Azure Backup for SAP HANA is basically enterprise grade, no infrastructure required, pay-as-you-go kind of a backup for HANA available in Azure, right? While for third-party backup software, of course, first you need to acquire the license, you need to set up the backup server, you need to set up a media server, you need to set up the storage to store your backup files, right? So there are plus and minuses for each option. So just to be open, to be honest to you all, for Azure Backup for SAP HANA, again, it's very easy to implement, but one thing that we are still working on is on deduplication, right? So currently there is no deduplication feature yet on Azure Backup for SAP HANA. We are working on it. At the moment, for our customers, we would recommend them not to do a full backup every day, but it can be, like weekly, and then every day you just do the differential backup. Of course, transaction log backup will still be there, but that is our strategy to try to minimize the cost. While for third-party backup software, often they will have this kind of deduplication feature, right? So in the end, if you if you have a requirement to have a full backup every day, maybe third-party backup software can be more cost-effective compared to the Azure backup. Back to you.
Yes. The next question is, I think in the interest of time, we will have this as a last question. It is, can you please elaborate more about the Embrace program and what is it exactly?
Yeah, I'll take that question as well. So Embrace program is again a initiative agreement signed between Microsoft and SAP to show our deep partnership. At the very heart of it, there are 4 key pillars: SAP, Microsoft, partners, and customers. And in between, right? So we have best practices, we have reference architecture that we share for our customers. SAP has the market approved journeys, or the the roadmap for customers, and we have ACP Cloud Platform, right? So ACP Cloud Platform will be implemented. It's available on Azure. So Microsoft now become the first party provider for ACP Cloud Platform on Azure, and our partners will implement those services available in SAP Cloud Platform, such as workflows, such as portal, OData provisioning, etc. So in the end, right, when you have your S4 running on Azure, as well as SAP Cloud Platform running on Azure, the result is very low latency and increased security, as your data that move between SAP Cloud Platform as the innovation platform from SAP and your core S4 systems, they all stay within Azure backbone. I hope that answers.
Yes. So I think in the interest of time, we will close this session. Speakers, with your permission.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much, Nagesh and Denny, for such an informative session. I would also like to thank all our attendees for taking out time and participating in this webinar. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day.
Thank you, YASH Technologies.
Thank you, Denny and Microsoft, and thank you, everyone. Thanks all the participants. Please do reach out to us if you have any further questions. Thank you.